My dear friends and colleagues, I am Professor Venkatesh, and today I have an interesting proposition in that I will attempt to compare the efficacy of the peristaltic and the Venturi machine in performing phacoemulsification in the case of small pupils. Two consecutive cases of small pupils were chosen. One was operated using the compact peristaltic machine, and the other case was operated using a Stellaris, which is a Venturi machine. The initial part of the procedure is quite similar in both cases. Each of these cases was stained with trypan blue. The compact machine is a quite advanced peristaltic machine which has a specific type of fluidics called the case fluidics, which stands for chamber stabilization environment. In both cases, I aim for as large a rhexis as possible. A pupil hugging rhexis is attempted and I think achieved. It's better not to make a rhexis which is larger in size than the pupillary diameter, because during phacoemulsification, the irrigation turbulence can cause the iris to flutter and a further narrowing down of the pupil. The hydrodissection is critical and crucial. Although a fluid wave cannot be seen, you can make out the rising of the central part of the nucleus. A gentle rocking movement which happens freely is usually enough for me to know that the nucleus will rotate. Now this is the patient who is going to be operated using the Stellaris machine, which is a Venturi pump machine. And like in the previous case, I'm staining the anterior capsule, fashioning the 2.8 mm clear corneal incision, and trying to get a rhexis size as large as possible. This pupil, of course, looks a lot smaller than the previous case. This looks around 3 to 3.5 millimeters in size. What I'm going to show you is, if certain clear principles are followed, then especially if you have mastered the art of direct phaco chop, then it is quite easy to handle even small pupils without the necessity of pupil dilating devices. A careful hydrodissection, rocking of the lens is enough to tell me that this lens is going to rotate. Let's get back to the first case, the peristaltic pump, and let us try to understand how the chopping occurs. You see that it is quite easy to bury the phaco tip, get a firm hold, initiate the crack, and also to lateral separate. The settings which I am using is a power of around 40%, a pulse mode phaco, a vacuum of 300 millimeters of mercury, and a flow rate of 30 cc per minute. So with gentle impaling, getting a firm hold, I'm able to chop and everything is going just fine. Now let's switch over to the Venturi pump and see how the chopping procedure happens. In the Venturi pump, using a vacuum of 350 millimeters of mercury, I'm using burst mode phaco because this is a grade 2 nuclear sclerosis. However, using a very low power of 20% and a burst duration of 30 milliseconds and a duty cycle of 60%. The ease of burying the tip, the holding power, as well as the chopping ability are comparable in both the machines. Mobilization of the nucleus and fragment removal. Let us watch how this happens between these two machines. So in the compact machine, there is excellent followability and responsiveness. I need to go close to the piece in order to impale, bury, and mobilize it into the pupillary area for phacoemulsification. You also note that I'm working with a vacuum of 350 millimeters of mercury and a flow rate of 30 cc per minute, and in spite of this, The pupillary edge remains rock solid in spite of the fact that I'm working so close to the pupillary margin. And there is good fallibility of the pieces, and in spite of this, you find that there is no tendency of the pupil to be dragged into the phaco tip. This major advantage of the peristaltic machine occurs because the vacuum buildup will occur only after tip is obtained. Let's switch over and see what happens in the Venturi machine. In the Venturi machine, I mobilize the fragments and I am in the stage of fragment removal, also working on the same burst mode with the same vacuum of 300 millimeters of mercury. The minute I go into foot position 2 and vacuum is operative, you can see pieces coming, the piece that came from the side. In a Venturi machine, the vacuum tends to pull the pieces, not only the one you're aiming for, but also the ones from the side. As the fragment removal continues, you can see that the slight risk with the Venturi pump, that when you're trying to pull the pieces, inadvertently a small bit of the pupillary margin gets sucked into the phaco tip. This is because this is a vacuum driven pump. The irrigation flow rate, the aspiration flow rate will depend upon the vacuum that you set. And this is why things not only happen fast, but things can be a little more unpredictable with a Venturi pump as opposed to a peristaltic pump. Let's see how the cortical aspiration proceeds. First with the peristaltic machine. As you can see that the pupil is small in both the cases, and I need to retract the pupillary margin in order to visualize, gain access and to remove the cortical matter. I use a ball dialer, otherwise known as a Tennant's nucleus manipulator, to gently retract the iris, gain visibility of the peripheral cortex, and using my coaxial IA probe, I take hold of this cortical remnants and I am able to comfortably aspirate it. This I do all 360 degrees and successfully end up removing all cortical matter from within the capsular bag. There it is, quite as clean as a whistle. Now it's time we then switched over and went back to see the performance of the Venturi pump for cortical aspiration. A little bit of the iris has been chafed. Therefore, this part of iris will be a little atonic and will tend to get dragged into the coaxial IA probe. So while I am doing the cortical aspiration, in this case, I find that this atonic segment of the pupil that got inadvertently sucked into the phaco tip is an unwanted guest at the aspirating port of my coaxial IA cannula. So I decide to exchange a Sinskey hook with a ball dialer or a Tennant's nucleus manipulator. So this is more successful in keeping the pupillary margin away, and I am able to again quite successfully identify, locate and remove the peripheral cortex from within the capsular bag. And just as in the previous case with the peristaltic pump, even in this case I am able to completely evacuate all the cortex, and the capsular bag is again as clean as a whistle. The points to take home here is, because a peristaltic machine has vacuum that occurs only on occlusion, there is a little amount of safety margin built into the machine. And this is, of course, very obvious, especially when you're doing a small pupil phaco. In my opinion, both the machines are great, and I'm very comfortable with the Venturi as well as the peristaltic machine. However, when it comes to certain challenging situations like a small pupil or a compromised zonules, then I believe that I would be more comfortable using a peristaltic machine as it gives me a greater margin of safety. Thank you for your attention.